back in the garage. I found this is a better spot for audio than outside. You don't have so much plane noise and everything. Also, lighting's a bit more consistent. As always, I'm doing this unscripted. I don't have a plan. Well, I do have a plan, but I don't have an actual script that I'm reading off of. Obviously, we have a rivalry brewing between Jackson Goldstone and Asa Burnett with Frameworks and Santa Cruz Syndicate. Which bike is better? Jackson is on the V10, which I also ride a V10, and Asa is on a Frameworks downhill bike, which I got to ride. I don't own one, but I did get to ride it for a couple laps. Which one's better? What's the better bike? Gonna compare the two on the same sections of track as best as I possibly can and give y'all an outlook on what these things ride like for somebody that is unbelievably average at downhill mountain biking. Merch, got some larges, XL, medium, and a couple smalls. So if you want one, let me know, and let's ride some bikes. All right. The things that I really care about are noise, cornering, and stability through chunk. So this first little section is going to be on Easy A at Rock Creek, how the two bikes compare in noise and how they handle the trail itself. The Frameworks bike is not mine, it's not set up for me, so don't really take into consideration the pace or the speed that I'm going because I'm not used to it, I wasn't used to it, didn't have time to get used to it. Just looking at the noise and how stable the bike is riding through the trails that I like to ride.
I feel like the second half is what
Okay.
kind of sketchy shit.
That was on the racetrack. Has gotten beaten the f up.
Woo!
So first thing you notice is the frameworks is quite a bit louder than the V10. Not just the hub. I think Nico's running a Spank hub, and I have a i9 1-of-1 hub, which I think the grease is still pretty fresh because the hub's not that loud. But if you listen closely, rewind it, listen closely, you can hear a little bit of chain slap and a little bit of noise coming from the frame, but not at all something to write home about. I prefer extremely quiet bikes, and the V10 is just about as quiet as you can get on a downhill bike. But that doesn't mean the frameworks is bad. It's just slightly more noisy, and I think that goes into the rugged nature. You know, hand welded frame, external cable routing, and just a lot more burly looking of a bike. So, and they both hold the chunk pretty well. They're both very stable. My bike is a 29er, full 29er, and the frameworks is a mullet. So maybe a little bit of feedback from the smaller rear wheel, but not at all bad. And I think all things considered, these two bikes are as high, maybe half a point edge to the V10, just because it's a full 29er, and it just rolls through the chunk a little bit better.
Oh. God damn.
Turning, the V10 is an extra large, longer reach, slightly longer wheelbase, bigger rear wheel. I think we all know where this is going. That framework's cornered and turned like nothing I've ever ridden before. And you know, I rode a Specialized Status for a while. That bike just wanted to like turn in on itself and spin out like a top on steeper downhill tracks. The frameworks bike didn't do that. The smaller rear wheel holds the line pretty well, and when you are in steeper sections and you start trying to steer with your knees, it's a lot easier to manage. The V10 is just a lot of bike, and you know, it's fantastic when it's straight downhill, but it takes a little bit more work than the frameworks to corner. So I give this a 1 point. Not really keeping score, but 1 point to the frameworks. for cornering ability. The suspension works very similar between the two bikes. They're both very fast, they're both very planted. I have no complaints. I would charge through anything I'm capable of charging through on either of these bikes. So 2 thumbs up on both sides from there. Just half a point to the V10 just for the bigger rear wheel.
I don't know if the back is set up different. I will nicely. Ooh, boosted that. That was sick. Corner's definitely nice.
Trying to sneak off. You stay. Last section is not something I really care about that much on downhill bikes, but I know a lot of people that watch the channel really like flow trails. Not really for what the downhill bike's for, and I think enduro bikes are better for flow trails anyway. But not really any super steep corners except at towards the very end on tumbleweed. So the Frameworks bike gets the edge there, it's easier to turn. But if you're only looking to go as fast as you possibly can, a 29er is going to roll better, but the other sizes of V10s are not full 29ers, they're MX setups. So they're even on flow. The V10 is pretty poppy compared to the Frameworks bike, which is probably a little bit better of an all-arounder, but all in all, both of these bikes are really good, and I'm interested to see how this season shapes up between Asa and the rest of the competition, and how Angel does against the top guys on all these massive factory teams. So we're really looking at homegrown versus the machine. So who's gonna win out?